You are alone in the Australian outback. No real food left. No clean water guaranteed. No reliable way to call for help. Behind you, civilization is gone. In front of you, the great sandy desert stretches for more than 110,000 square miles. And the most disturbing part is this. Robert Bogucki chose to walk in. In 1999, this 33-year-old firefighter from Fairbanks, Alaska, entered one of the harshest landscapes on Earth. Not for fame, money, or adventure. He went there searching for something he could not explain. 43 days later, he was found thin, burned, exhausted, and alive against almost every expectation. The question was no longer just how he survived. The real question was, why would a man do this on purpose? Robert Bogucki understood danger. As a firefighter, he had walked toward emergencies most people would run from. But inside him, there was another fire. Quieter, harder to put out. For years, Robert carried an idea that would not leave him alone. He wanted to enter the wilderness, like Jesus, to fast, test his faith, and find out whether God was truly there. By 1999, he was cycling across Australia when he saw the Great Sandy Desert on a map. Huge, remote, almost blank. To a normal man, it was a warning. To Robert, it looked like a door. He carried roughly a week of food, camping gear, his Bible, and about 26 liters of water on his bicycle. His plan was to travel toward the McClarty Hills, stop eating, sit in the desert, and wait for God. Not safe, not rational. But sometimes the most dangerous journey begins when a man believes suffering will finally explain him. On July 11, 1999, Robert left the Sandfire Roadhouse, a remote stop on the Great Northern Highway, and headed toward the desert. The sand quickly turned against him. After struggling to push his bicycle through soft ground, he abandoned it, along with much of his equipment. Days later, tourists found the blue bicycle near a remote track. Beside it were bedding, men's clothes, and empty water bottles. That was not mysterious. It was alarming. Police were called. Footprints led east, away from the bike, straight into the Great Sandy Desert. No roads, no easy way back. Just sand, scrub, dangerous animals, and distance. Maridu was a Yulparija elder, and one of the Aboriginal trackers brought in to help. He understood that country in a way no map could teach. For outsiders, the desert can look empty. For people who know it, it is alive, ancient, and brutally honest. And Maridu understood something Robert did not. This land does not care about your intentions. Faith does not replace preparation. Courage does not replace water. And a spiritual mission does not cancel the cost of a bad decision. In the early days, Robert found water holes and billabongs. At times, he had enough water to refill his containers, but the desert does not break a man all at once. It breaks him slowly. Food disappeared. Water became harder to find. His feet blistered. His body began feeding on itself. He survived on desert plants, muddy water, and moisture dug from the ground. At one point, he used a punctured tuna can to strain water from mud, working through the night just to collect enough to keep moving. That is not adventure. That is survival stripped down to its ugliest form. Just a man, his thirst, and the sound of his own thoughts. Because silence is not always peaceful. Sometimes silence is a mirror. It exposes the distance between faith and recklessness. A man can run from people, noise, and even his past, but he cannot outrun himself. As Robert kept walking, one of Australia's biggest land searches began behind him. Police, trackers, aircraft, and volunteers moved across a brutal landscape where every footprint mattered. But the desert was winning. Survival experts believed he had likely died from dehydration or exposure. On August 8th, 28 days after Robert set off, the official search was called off. Most people believed there was nobody left to save. Then the story turned again. An American private search team arrived. Searchers found more of Robert's belongings near the Edgar Ranges, a tarp, his Bible, and personal records. Then they saw something impossible, a help sign spelled out in pale rocks on a red plateau. Minutes later, the message came through. Robert Bogucki had been found. A Channel 9 News helicopter spotted him in a rocky gully in the Edgar Ranges near muddy pools. The pilot, Andrew Beaumont, saw what almost everyone believed was gone. A man, thin, bearded, dazed, but alive. Robert was not waving like a movie hero. He was not making a speech. When help reached him, the truth was simple. He was hungry. He was tired. After 43 days, that was enough. Doctors found Robert in better condition than expected, but the damage was obvious. He was gaunt, weak, blistered, and deeply changed. He had gone roughly 40 days without a proper meal. He had survived by digging, waiting, rationing energy, and making each movement count. He had not only matured in his mind, the desert had changed his body too, carving itself into his face, his posture, and the silence behind his eyes. Later, Robert said he wanted to sit alone, fast, and contemplate the universe. He had not expected his private spiritual search to trigger a rescue operation watched by the world. That part matters. This story should not become cheap inspiration. Robert survived, yes, but his decision was dangerous. It put his life at risk, pulled others into danger, and brought serious public backlash. The lesson is not, walk into the desert to find yourself. The lesson is sharper. Do not confuse intensity with wisdom. Do not confuse isolation with clarity. And never mistake a dangerous impulse for destiny just because it feels deep. Still, something powerful happened out there. Robert entered the desert looking for an answer. The desert gave him something harder: truth. It stripped away comfort, control, and distraction until only one question remained. Who are you when nobody is watching? Robert Bogucki walked into the great sandy desert searching for God, peace, and himself. Maridu Walbeedy knew that land was not empty, but sacred, dangerous, and alive. And Andrew Beaumont saw a human figure when almost everyone believed there was nobody left to find. Robert walked into the desert and came out alive. But the desert did not complete him. It stripped him down until only the truth was left. Every person has a desert somewhere inside them, a silence they avoid, a truth they postpone, a mistake they keep dressing up as purpose. Robert faced his in the most extreme way imaginable. You do not have to. But sooner or later, every man must stop running from the question waiting inside him. What part of yourself are you still afraid to face?